So now that most of the major free agent signings and trades have been made, I've decided to start a two-part series in which I make predictions for the NHL this upcoming season. Part 1 was the Western Conference, and now in Part 2 I'm doing the Eastern Conference. With all that being said, let's get straight into it. So coming up at number 1 in the Atlantic, I have the Panthers once again. Although they've lost Huberdeau and Weegar, and they aren't looking as strong as they were last year, I still think they're one of the better teams in the league, and I still think that they pull number 1 with 117 points this year. Now once again at number 2 we have the Maple Leafs. They don't get as many points as they did last year, but they still are a decent team. They might need to figure out their goaltending situation, but other than that, I really like what they've done this offseason, especially that value signing for Samsonov. And I think that overall they're going to have a pretty good season this year. 110 points, second in the Atlantic. Now the Lightning. I have them at third in the Atlantic once again, 109 points. So similar to last year. I really like the team. Obviously, they're still one of the better teams in the league. No signs of slowing down. I have them here number 3, 109 points. So now, one of the first major changes, we have the Red Wings at 4th in the Atlantic with 93 points. I really like what they've done this offseason. I'm sure most of you have heard, the moves they've been making, all that kind of stuff. And so I have them making a big jump to 4th in the Atlantic here with 93 points. Although this might be a stretch, I would really love to see it. Although I'm not a fan of the team, I really want to see them succeed. And so I have them here at 4th in the Atlantic with 93 points. Now the Bruins, a big drop off from the Bruins comparative to last year. They lost Bergeron. They're not looking that strong. And I think that they're going to have to start going into a rebuild soon. And this will be the beginning of the end for them. 5th place finish with only 91 points. Now the Canadiens. The Canadiens were riddled with injuries last year. Their roster's only gotten better since then. I think if they can stay healthy, they could, have a significantly better season this year, improved by almost 30 points to 84. 6th in the Atlantic. The Senators. The Senators, although they've had a pretty productive offseason, they still aren't, that strong of a team. I see them improving 7 or 8 points to 79 here, but they still remain 7th in the Atlantic. Not really competitive. And finally, I have the Sabres at 8th in the Atlantic. Many of you were expecting this. The Sabres are not a good team, and as the Atlantic continues to improve and the teams at the bottom are just getting better, the Sabres are going to get forced down to the bottom, and I have them here at under 70 points. Now the Hurricanes at first in the Metro with 114 points. The Hurricanes remain on top here. They remain similar to last year. They've had a pretty decent offseason. They've made up for what they've lost, especially that Max Pacioretty trade. That was an absolute highway robbery, and as a Vegas fan, I'm fuming. But yeah, that's about it. I have the Rangers at 2nd in the Metro once again. Their team, they haven't made many moves this offseason, but they're going to continue to develop as a roster, and so I have them improving by 4 or 5 points here to 113, nearly first in the division, but I have them here at 2nd in the Metro. Now the Capitals. The Capitals are going to improve slightly to 3rd in the Metro. I really like their roster. I really like the way it's set up. I like their lines. I just think that they're overall a strong team, and they're going to get back to, the dominance they've had for the last few seasons. Now the Penguins. The Penguins are going to start to regress this season, I believe. We have them here at 4th in the Metro with under 100 points. They have Sidney Crosby, they have Malkin, but this roster just outside of their top players is looking very hollow. I don't like it. The moves they've made aren't the best this offseason, and so I have them here at 99 points, just clinching that number 1 playoff spot. Now I have the Blue Jackets. The Blue Jackets at 5th in the Metro here with 87 points will improve greatly this season. I like what they've done. They have a pretty good roster, a pretty strong lineup. Not good enough to make the playoffs, but 100% an improvement over last season. The Islanders. The Islanders will also improve slightly over last season, just by 5 or 6 points. Last season, that was really just a fluke. That was just crazy. I don't even know how that happened. I'm not too invested in them, but I think that personally they can, at least get a few more points this season, stay relatively similar in the standings. I just don't expect a team like that to perform so badly like they did last season. Now the Flyers. The Flyers will remain similar. They'll get a few extra points at 7th in the Metro with 72. But they aren't a great team. They've made not really great moves this offseason. That Delorier signing was just atrocious. I don't even know what that was. But yeah, that's about it. I have 72 points here. They'll stay relatively similar in standings. And finally, I have the Devils. Many people might not be expecting this, but outside of their top six, their roster really isn't anything to, look at. It's nothing special, nothing pretty. They will improve slightly, but and obviously eighth in the Metro isn't a great look, but 70 points isn't bad either. It's just going to be a very competitive division this year, and so I have them at eighth here with just 70 points. Alright, so here's my playoff bracket for the 2022-2023 Eastern Conference. Up top, you can see on the left, we have all the teams in accordance to the points that I gave them and their positions in the standings. And so, yeah, let's just get straight into it. First series, we have Hurricanes versus Penguins. I have the Hurricanes taking this one. Like, the Penguins, they're just regressing. This might be one of their last few seasons where they even compete for a playoff spot. And so I have the Hurricanes taking this one easily in 5 or even 6 games. Now, second matchup, we have Rangers versus Capitals. I have the Rangers taking this one. Now, although I'd like the Capitals and I think they're a good team, the Rangers I think are just going to be a bit too much to handle. And I think that they're going to advance the second round to face off against the Hurricanes. And to start off with the Atlantic, I have the Panthers facing the Red Wings. Obviously, I have the Panthers taking this matchup. Although I really like the Red Wings and I want to see them succeed, I just don't see a world where they beat the Panthers. And so I have the Panthers moving on in 5, maybe 6 games. Now, final matchup of the first round in the Eastern Conference, I have the Maple Leafs facing off against the Lightning. I think that the Maple Leafs get their revenge on the Lightning after a very tough, tight series last year. I think the Maple Leafs come in firing. I think they're going to surprise the Lightning. I think they're going to come out strong, and I think they're going to take the series. Another close 6 or 7 games. Now, first matchup of the second round, I have Hurricanes versus Rangers. I have the Rangers taking this one, as the Rangers are just, I think, are going to be a really strong team next year. They're going to have a lot of passion. After getting knocked out in the conference finals last year, I think they're going to be coming back and fighting harder than ever. Finally, second matchup of the second round, Panthers versus Maple Leafs. I had the Maple Leafs taking this one. I think the Maple Leafs are just going to be a very strong team next year. If they can get a good goalie even at the deadline, or Matt Murray or Samsonov steps up, they can potentially even compete for a Stanley Cup. And so I have them moving through here to the third round. Now the conference finals, Rangers versus Maple Leafs. The Rangers I have here moving on quite easily. The Rangers are just a more complete team than the Maple Leafs. If the Maple Leafs don't get a goalie, a solid number 1, or Murray nor Samsonov steps through, they're obviously going to get beaten here. Honestly, the Rangers are just more complete. I think they're a better team, and I think they move on to the Stanley Cup Finals. Well, that's it for my Eastern Conference predictions video. If you did happen to enjoy, don't forget to drop a like down below. Leave your opinion in the comments down below. Was I right? Was I wrong? What would you have put? What are your predictions? What are your hot takes? What do you think I got wrong? What do you think should change? And that's about it. See ya.